Sweet, soft, golden. For millions, Maduros are comfort food. For the food and beverage industry, they're a versatile ingredient with a story that sells. You see plantains all across Hispanic kitchens. They're everywhere, from street carts to family tables. In fact, globally, we produce about 44 million tons of plantains every year, highlighting just how essential they are. Plantains have been cultivated for over 3,000 years, first in Southeast Asia, then thriving across West and Central Africa. During the transatlantic slave trade, they crossed the ocean aboard ships, carried as food for enslaved Africans bound for the Americas. Once here, they took root in Caribbean and Latin American soils, just like the people forced to grow and cook them.
They don't bring plantains necessarily as a crop to grow in Latin America until they realized that it was both a highly nutritional source and very cheap fruit or vegetable to feed their workers.
In colonial kitchens, plantains became nourishment, transformed with resourcefulness into countless dishes.
What makes plantains and maduros so different, and bananas themselves so different in the history of Latin American cuisine and world cuisine is that it's the African vein that ties us together. They ignore the importance that African culture had in our culinary history. And plantains, to me, are one of the backbones of that vein, what I call the African vein in Latin American cuisine.
As plantains ripened, they turned sweet, and so maduros were born, a dish of adaptation, survival, and comfort. Today, that history lives on in every bite, but so does opportunity. Latin American cuisine is one of the fastest growing segments in the global food market. In fact, it's a nearly $50 billion market that's expected to keep climbing year after year. Plantains are naturally sweet, gluten-free, plant-based, and nutrient-rich, perfectly in step with what today's consumers are looking for. From upscale restaurants to quick-service counters, from frozen food to ready-to-eat snacks, maduros adapt to any kitchen or product line. Serve them alongside rice and beans, 𝗟𝗲𝘁 or 𝗟𝗲𝘁 𝗂𝗶𝗹. Layer them into pastelón, bake them as chips, freeze and package them for retail. One ingredient, endless possibilities.
The simplicity with which plantains can be cooked, and the fact that plantains don't go bad as quickly as other fruits do. So for instance, a plantain, from the moment that they're cut from the tree to the moment that they become maduros, it's a good 3 weeks in between. So it's something that can be eaten at each stage, and at each stage it changes. So there's no you don't get bored with a taste throughout the time either. So it's something that's very easy to eat continuously while preparing it in different ways.
Fun fact, just like bananas, plantains are packed with potassium, but they have even more. Good for the heart, good for muscle recovery, and good for a story you can tell your customers. I grew up eating maduros almost every day, whether at the dinner table or stolen straight from the pan. They were comfort food I could never give up. That's the thing about maduros, they're more than food. They're memory, connection, and heritage. For the industry, that means authenticity, a story that resonates across cultures and generations. For customers, it means flavor that feels like home.
And taste is very real. You can have a lot of memories. You can bring people back who are no longer with us through tasting somebody's food and somebody's dish. And I think that's why plantains and maduros will never leave a Latin American cuisine, and they will never stop being important.
Maduros aren't just sweet, they're smart business. For the Food Institute, I'm Liz Muentes.